Unions pass Prop 50 as is expected in Tuesday's election, the voters will be the big losers. But the biggest winner? Gavin Newsom, of course. Coming up, we'll tell you how Prop 50 boosts his chances to win the Democrat nomination, but it's still not going to be enough, and we're redoubling our efforts to defeat him. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state legislator. In these final hours of our fight against Prop 50, I've not given up hope, but the polling looks really bad. And Republican turnout is dismal. We're going to still keep fighting in these final hours, and I encourage you to do the same. Plus, we are collecting signatures on our California voter ID initiative, and that is really the saving grace, the only life raft that we're going to have. To be competitive in California is to get voter ID on the ballot. But several months ago, I said, if we were able to defeat Prop 50, and it was winnable, but the professional political class on the Republican side in California screwed us and betrayed us and grabbed a bunch of money, grifted on the money, and ran a lousy campaign. We're going to get into that next week. But if we had defeated Prop 50, Gavin Newsom's presidential aspirations would have been dashed immediately. Because look, if he can't win a high-profile ballot measure in a deep blue state, his own deep blue state, then he doesn't have the juice to become president. But it looks like California voters were hoodwinked, and they're about to do so much damage to the concept of fairness in our elections and silence millions of Californians as undemocratic and un-American as you can be with Prop 50. But Gavin Newsom comes out the winner. I got to call balls and strikes, and he really did benefit. First and foremost, he raised his visibility nationwide. Everyone was watching Newsom as he said, we're just going to put it on the ballot and we're going to redistrict and we're going to rig the election. And I'm Trump's biggest nemesis. Same thing. It gave him a lot of earned media. It also gave him a lot of money. Here is this story. Newsom's redistricting campaign unlocks a new donor army ahead of 2028. He's claiming that he's built 100,000 new contributors. That's on top of people who'd already powered his previous campaigns here in California. A good amount of that money came from people outside of the state of California. So he is building a national donor network, and that's something he's going to need for president. He got even to the point where he was telling people just a few days ago, I have so much money, don't give me any more. You don't hear that from a politician very often, right? Fake humility. The reality is this has been a big boon for him. And he's really found his mojo, his shtick in his race for president, because he was floundering for several years, and he's been running for president for several years. Don't kid yourself. This guy has been running for president literally since the moment he graduated from high school with all of his billionaire backers. More on that in a moment. But he's absolutely found his voice, and that is he wants to be the anti-Trump. He wants to be as audacious as Trump and as in your face as Trump, because Democrat activists want a fighter. And he's picked up on that. They want a fighter. He was in an interview with Jonathan Karl just a few days ago, and he kind of, framed it that way. Listen in.
I think he meant that in a...
I'm glad I still have some humor left. I mean, this is a rough business.
Yeah, it is.
This is a rough business, particularly if you're willing to fight. And I just hope we have more fighters. And I want to say this seriously. I have no problem being, out there with the arrows in my back, as long as it gives some space for people to run over me and move forward. I'm serious about that. I really am scared to death about what's going on in this country.
Yeah. Fighter. Is he going to say this is a 9/11 moment or a code red moment?
Believe it is code red.
There it is. It's a code red on our democracy. What happened to code pink? Yeah. Anyway, so he's found his lane and it's working for him. The latest polling shows across the country, he is rising. Right now, there are a number of leaders in each state, Kamala Harris still has a slight edge nationally, but he's up there with her, along with Pete Buttigieg. And Newsom is leading, obviously, in California, but he's also leading in Ohio and in Maine and in Alaska. Buttigieg is slightly ahead in Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and New Hampshire. And AOC is leading in Vermont. These are state polls. We'll get a lot more coming in the right after the midterms. But Newsom is running for president. The other day, he's like, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I'd be willing to look at it after the midterms. Bitch, please, you've been running for years. You're salivating. You're panting in heat. Like Rosie O'Donnell pursuing a donut. You are on the hunt. And so don't give me this nonsense that somehow you have not been running for president. Oh, who, me? Oh, I might look at it. I would be lying if I said I wasn't willing to look at it after the midterms. Insane. But the reality is this. He has gotten the name ID. He's gotten some success with this. I am going to be the in-your-face fighter against Trump. And the Democrat rabid base likes that. They want to see a fighter. I don't think it's going to work with the general electorate. More on that in a moment. But he comes out the clear winner, and I've got to call balls and strikes. Here are the problems, though, that Newsom is going to have. Number one, his record in California. Abysmal failure. The policies he's supported and the failure and impact and destruction that it's had. The highest cost of living of any state in the nation, the most job losses of any state in the nation, the worst schools, the worst homeless problem by miles, despite spending $24 billion, wasting that money, lining the pockets of developers, rich developers, a crime wave. By every measure, California is a failed state, but he keeps saying, oh, we're so great. We're so great. It's so wonderful. Just check it out. His record will be, number one, his biggest problem. But number two, his inauthenticity, his lack of honesty. He's not genuine. And this guy doesn't get it. Like in California, the liberal media has covered up for his bullshit. They've absolutely protected him. They've never challenged him. He has gotten away with every single lie because they are literally lapdogs, not watchdogs. But that's in the California media market. He's about to go onto a national stage. And the sort of critical review of his record and his character and every statement he makes will be challenged. That will be his downfall because he's that arrogant and he is that dishonest. That is my prediction, my friends. Yes, he got a big boost out of Prop 50, but he's about to hit the brick wall. Here's Gavin Newsom trying to pretend somehow like he is poor, that he ate macaroni and cheese and Wonder Bread and had to hustle. And he raised himself as a kid. He raised himself. Do you know that he delivered himself from his mother? Do you know that he taught himself how to ride his own bike and how to swim himself? He taught himself how to read and write in a log cabin, eating mac and cheese and Wonder Bread while he's hustling. Seriously, that's what Mr. Entitled Rich Boy had to offer.
Hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising
notice
myself.
The fake black
turning
accent.
on the TV, started, just getting obsessed, sitting there with the Wonder Bread and 5 stacks of,
it's like the White Stack 5 story.
Come on. Kraft macaroni and cheese.
So this is a guy who has literally lied about his upbringing. Here is the real Gavin Newsom. Look at that. Brotastic. Gavin Newsom's first Chronicle photo opportunity in 1991. Here's the subheadline. Gavin Newsom with Paul Moen, Andrew Getty, Billy Getty, posting for Children of the Rich feature that ran in San Francisco Chronicle on December 12th, 1991. Children of the Rich versus mac and cheese hustler. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, exposing Newsom's utter dishonesty. He's not going to get away with this. He's about to enter a national media cycle, and they are going to call him on the carpet. Not all the liberal media outlets, but there's going to be enough calling on the carpet. People are going to see it. Sort of like Kamala Harris on The View saying, "There's nothing I would do different with Joe Biden's presidency." It is going to come out, my friends. You and I know how dishonest he is because we see it up close and personal. The rest of America has not, which is why while he's spiking right now in the presidential polls, I predict a crash and burn. And of course, he's sucking up. Here's Newsom saying Governor Newsom responds to online feud with podcaster Joe Rogan. There's no online feud with Joe Rogan. Newsom is trying to go on Joe Rogan because he desperately wants Rogan's audience. And Rogan's like, you don't like create some fake controversy, fake fight with me to get on my show. I don't want you on the show because I don't find you to be authentic. Joe Rogan is a BS detector. And he just doesn't like to promote liars and inauthentic people on his show. So I don't at all believe that there's some sort of feud. Gavin, Joe just doesn't like you. He doesn't want you on his show because he knows you're a liar. And Newsom says, oh, he's afraid of me. Pretty boy. Don't kid yourself. At Reform California, we are ready to pivot. And at Reform California, up until this point, we've had a campaign going on at the state level, and it is to expose Gavin Newsom. Go to our website, reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. We've been building a dirt file. And we used this dirt file even a year and a half ago when Newsom was revving up his campaign for president, hoping that Joe Biden would be pushed out and that he would be coronated by the Democrat establishment. Didn't work out that way. But we used that dirt file in the DeSantis debate on Fox News. We got that information to the media, to Fox News, to Sean Hannity. And they even used specific items that we had teed up. That information constantly is being updated. The dirt file that we're building on Newsom constantly being added to. And so that campaign continues to roll. As we pivot to the day when he becomes a presidential candidate, then we have to reset and relocate that campaign under a federal committee, because when he runs for federal office, our state committee can't do as much to a federal candidate without, running afoul of the rules. We always play by the book. But what I need you to do, go on the website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution to the Expose Gavin Newsom campaign. We are trying to get as much of that dirt file put together before he announces formally as candidate for president. And we are going to go after his failures and corruption, and we're going to make sure that every media outlet is calling him on the carpet. He's winning because of his dirty deed with Prop 50. But there is still time to stop him, and we must stop him. We know the damage that he can do in this country if he's ever president. Till next time, I'm Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California state legislator. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.